Hello! Got another UFC Fight Night prediction and opinions and a bit of a breakdown for you on some of the fights that I find personally a bit more interesting on this UFC Fight Night Mexico card. Nothing really jumps out at me as super exciting or super interesting in this card. I'm a little bit disappointed with it, to be honest. I like me Mexican fighters. You know, they always put on a good show, standing and banging, and lots of bloody back and forths. But this one seems a bit average. They haven't really done the best with the matchmaking. It's going to be a bit of a letdown, in my opinion. There could be some sleepers on here, and some that we don't really know about could perform really well on the night. But yeah, it just doesn't have the name power. I would expect a few more big names, but I guess that shows Mexico's struggling to produce any real fighters of real depth and quality. Brandon Moreno being the biggest, I assume. Some of the boxing stars are, bigger, but yeah, so I'll just go on to a couple of their fights that I find a little bit more interesting. We got some decent matchups here. We got Christian Quinones versus Chris Monteño. So yeah, he's coming back after he got cut from the UFC. He's the one that got punched in the head for, I think it was 2.5 rounds against Sugar Sean. So yeah, good to see he gets another crack at the UFC. I always thought he was pretty tough. He took a beating in that fight. Be interested to see how he goes this time. He's probably got a little bit more level playing field. He's not the last minute replacement. He's probably built up. Christian Quinones hasn't done too good, really. Lost to Ronnie Barcelos in his last fight. But yeah, Chris Monteño, Sugar Sean, then he had two other fights. Guido Canetti, Malcolm Wellmaker, lost both of them by KO in round one. So yeah, don't know what O'Malley was doing in that fight, but yeah, couldn't knock him out. But then he gets knocked out twice in the first round. So you would think probably Christian Quinones will probably knock him out, even though he hasn't had the greatest success. He got submitted by Ronnie Barcelos, and Kyung Ho Kang submitted him in round one. But he did knock out Khalid Taha. Who the heck is that? Never heard of that guy. So yeah, I'll go Quinones in that one. I think he'll probably get a KO. I don't know, depends on how Chris Monteño's heads feel on that night. Elena Perez versus Macy Chiasson. That's probably not a bad matchup. They're pretty even. I'd be going for Macy Chiasson in that one. She's the underdog in that fight. Whatever happens, it'll be by decision. Yeah, so I'd probably take her as a underdog in that one. That could be some good value bets there. Who else we got here? Santiago Luna versus Angel Pacheco. These guys are just up and comers, but they're both interesting fighters. I like Santiago Luna. He looked good in his last fight against Quang Lee. Angel Pacheco, I think he's probably another good fighter. I thought he was Mexico personally. Pacheco sounds Mexican. Says he's American, but anyway, he lost a decision to Calvin Logren, which I don't think that Irish guy's very good. So I'd be leaning towards Santiago. Border Boy, that's a sick nickname. Santiago Luna in that one. I think possibly decision though. I don't think you'll get a KO against him. Edgar Chairez versus Felipe Burns. I've liked Edgar Chairez. I've watched him fight a fair few times. He always puts on exciting fights. They call him the pit bull. I like that. He goes at him like a pit bull. Hasn't had the best, going off his track record, hasn't had the best success in the UFC. But like I said, he's been exciting, he's been entertaining. I think he could go a fair way in the UFC if he keeps going the way he's going. But Felipe Burns, I think he'll be a hell of a test. Brazilian's always tough. I don't really know a lot about Felipe. They're the same height, same reach. I think it's going to be, a very even matchup. But I'd lean towards Edgar Chairez, especially being in Mexico. I think his submission skills are pretty good. It says here that Felipe Burns has lost by KO to Joshua Van. That's not great. And then Rafael Estevan, he lost a decision to him in his last fight in August. CJ Vergara by sub. So, yeah, Edgar Chairez definitely with the subs. All his wins have come from subs. I don't know. He went to a decision with Van. That's a good sign. First round sub against Vergara in his last fight. Don't really rate Vergara, though. So I don't think that's much to go off of. But I think it's going to be probably Edgar Chairez trying to grapple. And I can see him possibly getting a sub. But I think more likely I'd put him down for a decision in that one too. All right, on to the next one. Got Daniel Zellhuber versus Bobby King Green. Yeah, what can you say? Bobby King Green likes getting knocked out, I guess. Daniel Zellhuber, I was extremely disappointed in his fight with Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson's an older guy, and I really thought Zellhuber would have ran through him, but Johnson just pulled that one out the bag, had obviously a good night, good performance from him. But yeah, very disappointing from a young Mexican guy, had, great record going so far. He was really making a good name for himself, I thought, knocking out good guys and, not knocking them out, decisions with good guys. Lando Venata, Francisco Pareto, that was a great win in my book. Estevan Ribovic's got him, but that's all right, But then Michael Johnson, they give you an easy layup, the UFC. Younger, quicker, faster, stronger, and he fumbled that. Anyway, King Green, he got his last win against that Bellator guy, Lance Gibson. Not a bad showing, got a decision. But coming off before that, the spinning head kick knockout from Mauricio Rufy and the submission that Paddy Pimblett got him in, the triangle there, choked him out unconscious. They were 2 first-round savage beatings for Bobby Green. I'm not sure if he's going to ever fully recover from some of the damage he took there. But hey, he's a good fighter. He's tough as nails. He's not shy. He's going to go into Zellhuber. I think he could give him a little bit of trouble like Michael Johnson, but I'm going to go with Zellhuber in this one. Probably not as flashy as Mauricio Rufy, but I think there'll be probably an elbow or possibly a beautiful ripping uppercut or something. And I think, yeah, round 2, Bobby Green getting knocked out again. I can see a good uppercut. Bobby's on the fence circling, grabs a hold of him, uppercut, drops him, finishes him off with a bit of ground and pound. That's my prediction for that one. And then there's only really the last 2 fights, the co-main event, Marlon Chito Vera versus David Martinez. Now, Martinez has been pretty good. I do like him. I think he's a great fighter. Marlon Vera, I've watched a lot of times. I think he's very entertaining. Loves a good stand-up, tough as nails. But he has gone off a bit of a cliff here lately. Decisions, all losses. His last win was Pedro Munoz in 2023. So, a bit of a rough trot for old Chito. I don't see him ever getting knocked out, though. He's got a bloody head like a boulder. David Martinez has won his last fight to Rob Font by a decision. So, I think, you'd have to lean towards Martinez by decision, but I'm just amazed that Chito's as big an underdog as he is in this. He's definitely got the experience. Maybe people think Chito's a bit past his prime here. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. You can only stay at your peak for so long. He might be a bit washed, guys. He could be on the downward slope. But I wouldn't be surprised if Chito did manage to win a fight on points here. I think that last fight he got probably a bit ripped there, that Ayman Zahabi. I think I would have given him that one. That was a very close fight. Could have gone either way, but I liked Chito in that one. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. See what Chito brings to the table. Is it going to be his normal style? He's probably in a position now where he needs to change things up, but I don't think he's got much else. It's going to be just his go-to. Stand up, brawl, defend the takedowns. And, yeah, let's see what David Martinez can do. I'm going to go decision on this one, but I'm leaning towards probably Marlon Vera. I'm just interested to see if he can still hold his own. And I think if he's going to do it, it's going to be in a fight like this. He's not going to knock him out. He's going to chip away at him for the 3 rounds and win a decision. But I don't know. David Martinez, he's looked good. He's had some really good fights in his career early. he's a little bit smaller than Cheeto, which is surprising. But yeah, two fights, 2 good wins for him. You know, Cheeto's definitely the A side. But yeah, just the biggest thing that gets me is Marlon being such a big underdog in this fight. Did not expect that. Anyway, quick one on the main event now. Brandon Baby Assassin Moreno versus Lona Kavanagh. I don't know about this one, guys. This is a tough one. Lona Cav, I haven't seen a lot of him. He got knocked out in his last fight to Charles Johnson. He is a last-minute replacement too. That never seems to go well for guys. He's a lot shorter than Vera too. I mean, this being flyweight though, so it's not like there's anybody super tall in this division. Yeah, Lona Cav, he beat Felipe dos Santos. That's a good win. Jose Ochoa, another good win. So he's looked good against a lot of quick stand-up guys. And Charles Johnson got him. KO'd him in round 2. I remember watching that fight. That was a good fight. So yeah, I think you got to go with Moreno just for the sheer factor, the experience. Even though he lost his last fight by KO in round 2 as well. You know, he beat Steve Erceg before that. Amir Albazi. There's pretty good names there. I think, you know, the Assassin Baby, I think he's probably at the point in his career where he's not pushing himself quite as hard as he once was. You know, he's not on the up and up. He's had the title. He lost it. Can he work back to another title shot? You know, if he keeps on winning fights like this in exciting fashion, that's going to be the way to do it. But does he really want it? Is he as hungry is what I'm saying. I don't know. I think he probably picks him apart here. Another decision. 5 rounds. Brandon, the Assassin Moreno. I think that'll be the case in that one. Lona Cav, good test for him to see where the young man is. But, yeah, coming in as a last-minute replacement, don't think it's going to go too well for him. But, yeah, no, I'll be interested to see it. Yeah, should be some pretty good fights on this card. Like I said, there's a lot of names we don't really know about. I think there could be some good, interesting ones that, you know, but that light up the card that we're not expecting to. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the fights. Have a good time.